everybody, and welcome to the next episode of One Deck 1 Month featuring Mekk Knights. Last week was alright, things went okay. Our first Tuesday locals was, well, not that great. We went 2-2, and then come Saturday, we actually almost went 4-0, very, very close 4-0, but in the fourth round, we did get stuffed pretty hard by an invoked Dogmatica deck, and that's going to be our biggest threat going forward. And I had talked previously about, a going first build. I don't necessarily know if I want to go first, but play a variant that isn't so vulnerable if it does have to go first, if that makes any sense. Because, still playing around that inherent Mekk Knight advantage going second, I think still is very valuable. But there is a build that I'm going to take to go to a friend's house tonight to test. It is Friday. And that version is a version that I tested a little bit before Gearsu came out. And this version actually doesn't have Gearsu because I don't necessarily think it does unless I bump up to like a 50 card count. I might even just tech one copy of Gearsu. I'm not entirely sure. But basically it involves a World Legacy engine. And I want to give it a shot because I really never gave that build a chance to begin with. Like I said, it may add Gearsu in, but basically the build revolves around playing multiple Mekk Knight of Ram with unexpected die. You basically normal summon the Avram, make the World Chalice Link 1, and then you need the World Legacy World Chalice card in your hand. You use the Link 1 effect Imduk to get an additional normal summon of a World Chalice monster. You tribute that off and normal it. Then you link it away for Almirage, then you get its effect to summon 2 from the grave. 1 gets you a search of a World Legacy card, and then the World Legacy Guard Dragon you summon gets you another extender in the grave by being able to revive Avram to his own Link monster points too. So that variant of itself has a lot more potential going first, and I think it also is probably one of the most resource efficient combos you can do in Mekk Knights, especially ever since the IB got banned. So I think it's something I want to try again. We'll give it a shot. I'm just going to pack everything up. I need to dig out some of those cards. I think they might be in my binder. We need to play a copy of Lee the World Chalice Fairy and a copy of World Legacy Guard Dragon. These might be considered garnets, but if need be, we can normal summon them, turn them into Almirage, and even the Guard Dragon can act as an extender if we already open, the Avram. We can pitch that and then use the Graveyard effect to summon it back out. And if we open Lee, we can just normal summon it to search the cup to have a free discard for that of Morningstar. So it's got a lot of, good things going for it. But we'll just see how it goes. And hopefully we can actually get some testing in tonight. You guys know I didn't go to locals this Tuesday. I just wasn't going to be able to show up on time, so I just didn't bother. So hopefully tonight we can get some good testing in before going into tomorrow. Alright, so I pretty much found everything I need to be able to put this build together at my friend's house, so I'm just going to pack up and then we're going to head out. But let me show you guys something real quick. So this is just a build that I have on my EDO Pro. As you can see, there's some changes in here, like I added in the World Legacy Survivor. I might try that. I don't know if it's going to be any good. As you can see, I'm playing cards like Paleozoic Dynamiscus, Pot of Avarice, Reasoning. We'll see how it goes. My build might look something similar to this when I get to my friend's house, but I don't know. I just really want to try this version out and get some reps in with it. So also, you probably already noticed in the background, check out this Lugia plushie. It is so absolutely cool. I just got it today, and it's just amazing to have it in the background of all my videos. So very cool. Alright, so it is Saturday, it's about 2:30 p.m. and I just want to give a quick sort of overview on how the testing went last night. The first thing I want to talk about, the elephant in the room, is my man Gearsu himself. I love Gearsu. I think he's a good card in the right deck. I just don't think he's exactly what Mekk Knights need. in terms of being able to fix the deck's problem. I may have thought that originally when the card first came out, but I no longer think that's the case, and let me explain why. So when we look at cards that can help facilitate the Mekk Knight engine, we're talking about cards like Purple, Blue Sky, Indigo, Red Moon, Yellow, any of the Mekk Knights that require columns to summon themselves in. We're looking at engines, specifically engines that are Mekk Knight related, that help facilitate that 2-column strategy regardless of what our opponent is doing. Because we want to break away from that dependency of what our opponent is doing to make the deck really stand out and really just much more independent and much better of a deck overall, instead of always having to rely on going second, and then when we have to go first, we're just kind of forced to set a couple cards and pass, and if we didn't draw any side deck cards, that there goes the game right there. So Avram and Unexpected Die already seem a little bit better to me. Cyanide Mining and Ibly already seem a bit better because, again, we can play technically 6 copies of Ibly, and it creates a column for us independent of what the opponent has to say about it. If they have a DD Crow for the Ibly, they have a DD Crow, but DD Crow is less likely right now than that of Infinite Impermanence or Effect Veil or Ash, whatever it may be. So, Ibly is much more safe, but I'm trying to play into this theme of normal monsters with this build that I have with the World Chalice engine. Because last night in all the games that I played, and I did play a lot against the Eldritch Dogmatica deck, I did play quite a few handful of games against Invoke Dogmatica, played against some Altergeist matchups just because that's a deck I feel like I need some practice against. Really just control decks in a nutshell. I mean, surprisingly, this deck has good access to cards that can beat control matchups in Game 1, and that's World Legacy Key. And this World Legacy World Chalice engine helps to facilitate those cards a lot better, because it's so resourceful in being able to get you cards like Whisper's Secret or Key or Succession or Memory, because you're always going to have a World Legacy World Chalice engraved next turn to resolve that search effect. And the World Legacy monsters like Lee and Guard Dragon, they're all just very resourceful cards. One is getting you a card back to discard from Morningstar. The other just acts as a free extender and plays into your normal monster strategy with Avram, which is why going forward I had this idea to play Chosen by the World Chalice, and I'll put a picture of it up here on the screen. And I wanted to play Chosen of the World Chalice because it is a level 3 vanilla, but it is also a psychic monster, and we can summon it off of E-Telly. So the importance now becomes is we can play 3 Avram, 3 Chosen by the World Chalice, 2 Unexpected Die, and an E-Telly. So that's 3, 6, 9 starter cards. And the reason I like the idea of playing maybe 6 normal summon normal monsters is because if we open, let's say, both Chosen and Avram together, we can normal summon the Chosen, link it into Link Spider, and then use the Link Spider to summon the Avram out of her hand, and then go into a Morningstar. And the other thing is, Lib is such a powerful card, so how can we facilitate Lib a lot faster? Well, I had the idea of also playing World Legacy Survivor. World Legacy Survivor, which basically is a normal spell that says, excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, add 1 excavated crawler monster or World Legacy card to your hand. Also send the remaining cards to the graveyard, otherwise shuffle all excavated cards into the deck, and then you get locked into Link Summoning for the rest of the turn. So that's not so bad, because going forward without having Galatea and Girsu in the deck, we don't need to play Ding Girsu. We can play some sort of like other form of removal cards in the main deck, maybe in the form of traps and things like that. World Legacy Survivor, in the few games that I did test it, proved to actually be pretty okay. In a few of the games that actually activated a World Legacy key right off the rip, and that helped out so much in those control matchups to be able to shut off back row. So I think that's what we're going to do. I also might add in the World Legacy World Crown, because again, that's another card that we could potentially grab off of the World Legacy Survivor. And that is an extender, and it's also a card that our opponent will have a hard time dealing with because it can negate monsters that are special from the extra deck when they activate their effects. And not to mention, it'll just give us a bigger opportunity to see World Legacy World Chalice to help facilitate our combo through Imduk and the whole World Chalice play with, linking to Almirage, summoning Lee, and Guard Dragon. So, yeah, I'm very excited to play this variant at Locals. It'll be the first time I played this variant at Locals. I think I finally found what was, missing sort of from it. This deck, one other thing too, is it can grind like crazy, which is why I might throw Pot of Avarice in. So I'm very excited. I have to dig out some cards now. Hopefully I have everything I need. I need 3 Chosen. I think that's going to be the hardest thing to find in the World Legacy Survivors. I don't know if I have those cards either. I might have 1, but we need 2. So yeah, those are all the findings on testing. Now we're just going to go build the deck, and in a few hours we're going to leave. Alright, so after looking through some bulk, I was able to find 2 copies of World Legacy Survivors in Super Rare, so that's good. And I was also able to find all 3 copies of the Chosen by the World Chalice. And while I was sifting through said bulk, I also came across the card Painful Decision. And that card also comes to mind because it's also a starter card. We can just basically dump an Abram to the grave or a Chosen to the grave to add one to basically help facilitate our strategies, link into Imduk, and then grant us that additional normal of a World Chalice monster, I believe. And then we then we tribute for the World Legacy World Chalice, and then we go off into our combo, linking it off into Almirage, etc., etc. And Survivor is going to help us increase the odds of seeing that World Legacy World Chalice. And while if we don't see any of those cards and we open Mekk Knights, it's still business as usual. Nothing's really changing there because I still am going to play going second. But we have an engine that will allow us to play independent of what the opponent is doing. So I'm going to have to go ahead and throw this together. I'm not sure if I'm going to do 2 Chosen and then 3 of Ram, or 3 Chosen and 3 of Ram. I'm not sure. The only other card that I thought I might play in place of Chosen is the Ibli with Signet Mining. But the reason I like this is because, again, it's just a normal monster that we can just outright link into Link Spider. We don't need to worry about any effects resolving, and this card can also be summoned off of E-Tally, which is a card that I wasn't able to find, but hopefully my friend has one for me, because we can summon this card off of E-Tally, and we also might be able to play Ghost Ogre in the main deck too, to be able to summon off of E-Tally as a backup target if for some reason we have seen all of our copies of Chosen already at that point. So I'm going to start piecing this deck out, and we'll get it all built, at least as much as we can get it built, because again, don't have an E-Tally. We're going to have to try and find one, and then I might just do some test hands just to see how everything is working. Obviously, it's not the perfect, decider of whether or not the build will perform, just doing some random test hands, but it just helped me at least get a good idea of how things are going. I'm going to settle with this 43 card build that you see here. The only thing I might do going forward is possibly drop the Gamma Seals just to get it down to 41. But Gamma Seal is a very good card to have in our deck because we are a going second deck. It's kind of a pseudo hand trap. It's a card that we can use to break some of their most powerful cards like Dragoon of Red Eyes, and also create a column for ourselves in the process. And overall, I really like that lineup. World Legacy Survivor, I think, has been overperforming, in my opinion. It's a fantastic card. Another card I might want to add is World Legacy's World Crown, but again, that might be for a later date. The extra deck is looking pretty solid. I'm doing Link only because Survivor does lock us into Links. The only other Ixies I'd want to play would be Dingirsu, but with Lib in the game, you don't really need Dingirsu, and it's nice to not be able to have to overlay one of your purple Nightfalls as well. And Link Cross gives us really easy access to be able to link off Lib in a pinch if we need to. The side deck. I've had a little trouble building this side deck. We have triple Nibiru, double Lancia, 3 Ibli, double Heavy Storm Duster, a double Different Dimension Ground, double Dimensional Barrier, and Red Reboot. So I'm basically preparing for the fact that our opponent is definitely going to be making us go first, and having things in the main deck in terms of floodgates, like different dimensional ground, dimensional barrier, mainly to turn off fusions for things like Dragoon or Invoked Mekk. I think it could be very advantageous. If I change one more card before I leave, it might be the dimensional barrier. I just don't know what to put in place of it right now. It might maybe Trap Trick, but I really like Heavy Storm Duster because it'll help us in the control matchup, and it's a trap card that we can set. Maybe I'd actually put Trap Trick in, but then again, I'm not sure. But basically, for going first against combo, we have 3 Ibly that we can throw in, and we can basically drop the 2 Chosen and the E-Telly for the 3 Ibly. Our starter count doesn't change, and we have a very good floodgate against a lot of the meta. Nibiru, obviously, for going second against combo. And then we have Lancia as well. Be very good against a lot of decks, Invoked, Dino, and also that of Dragon Link, because they do quite a bit of banishing, with Levianeer and the baby Chaos Dragons and things like that. So those are all very good cards, and I think, with the amount of hand traps we're already playing, and we're already playing a going second oriented deck, I didn't want to dedicate too much space to going second cards. I don't want to spend too much more time deliberating on this side deck because I have to leave soon, and I don't want to be late. There's still some other things I want to do before I leave. So if the side deck ends up being trash, then it ends up being trash, but let's just give it a shot. Alright, so it's just after 6 o'clock. We're going to go in and grab that E-Telly and set up the camera for feature matches. And hopefully this build works. I'm feeling pretty confident in it, actually. We're still going to play going second, so like the standard core, playstyle of Mekk Knight isn't changing with this build. The side deck I'm also feeling very confident in as well. I've also replaced the Nibirus with Droll Knock because I feel like Droll Knock has the potential to be more impactful than Nibiru, and Nibiru will actually conflict with Unexpected Die in some cases, so let's just try it out. We'll see how it goes, and cue the montage, I guess. Also, this backpack easily weighs like 30 pounds. Icy.
It's NM. I think it's LP. It's not NM. It's Unlim, but it's LP, I think.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, well that definitely didn't go as planned. I don't know. Tonight was just not our night. We'll get into more of that when we go over the tournament report. But hopefully this week we can work some things out, because I think at this point we're just now at the halfway point. We should definitely be doing better, and I think if anything this should be the deck that we secure our 4-0 with, because we've yet to do that. I'm surprised we didn't do it with Infernoble, but Infernoble is a little harder to pilot. But we're gonna go home, do the tournament report, and well, I'm gonna eat first. I'm absolutely starving. So let's go get all that in order, and then we'll talk about what went well and what didn't. Alright, so it is time for the tournament report. We only did one locals this week, because I actually didn't have a way to get to locals on Tuesday, which is fine. So as you guys heard me say when we were about to leave, I didn't. It was pretty rough. It was a pretty rough turnout this week. But round one, we played against Salmon Graded deck. Admittedly, I was not expecting to play. Granted, it's a deck that like maybe last year around this time, I would have really expected the matchup, but not right now. Definitely not at all right now. So, we go ahead and go into game 1. He wins the die roll, which I guess it's fine. I often, complained about whether or not I was able to win the die roll. I guess ultimately it didn't matter because we always wanted to go second anyways, and everybody else we played wanted to go first. So he goes first, ends on Sunlight Wolf with a set Rage, not the most extravagant field, so we're able to Gamma Seal overtop the Sunlight Wolf. Gamma Seal already coming in clutch at this point. Really glad I'm playing that card in here. I think it's something I might continue to play going forward. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it's a card that deals with problem cards like no other card really can. It deals with Dragoons like absolutely flawless, and it doesn't take a discard like Forbidden Droplet. So I really do, and you can make a column with it too. But I digress. So we drop the Gamma Seal over top of Sunlight Wolf. Then we normal Avram, link into Imduk, normal summon the Chalice, go into Almirage, and our whole combo is pretty much underway. We're feeling really good about this first game here. And then we summon Lee and Guard Dragon. Lee adds the World Legacy World Chalice. And on resolution, Droll and Lockbird. Fantastic. So, after that, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just go ahead and make Lib attempt effect. He has Effect Veiler. Then I summon Yellow to pop his set Rage. Make a Morning Star for no effect, obviously. Then we link both the Lib and the Morning Star into an Avermax, spin the Field Center, not his Field Center, his Field Spell, back into his deck. And then I think I summon a Red Moon to pop the Gamma Seal and swing in for 53 with everything. And that was pretty much it for my turn. But next turn on his turn, with just having that recycled Gazelle, and I think he also had a Will, he was able to climb all the way into a Splash Mage, into a Transcode Talker, into an Avermax. And he also had he sent Falco off of the Gazelle, and he also had a Jack Jaguar in play too. So he had plenty of extenders and the Will on top of that. So he was able to go into Access Code. Access Code on summon obviously gains the 3k from the Transcode. And then I have just basically an Avermax, a Red Moon, and a set Memory. This is where I make a bit of a tech play error because I forget to use the Memory on resolution of that attack gain, because at that point it's a use it or lose it type effect. If he goes ahead and banishes to pop, I obviously can't respond. So I should have used it earlier to get at least a purple to maybe live, or another Mekk Knight that could block damage, or just be another body to absorb all the blows that were going to come from this Access Code. But it doesn't matter. He wipes the entire field. He also had made a Rafflesia earlier. So when our Avermax attempted to activate Engrave, which was going to spin back that Access Code, he just detached and, Gravedigger's Trap Hole, and we burned for 2k. And then he, uses Will to summon a Jaguar from the grave, swings in for 53, and then however much Jaguar has. And we lose outright. Game 2, I go first, and get ready for this. This is the only game out of all 4 matches, all 4 rounds, that I opened a side deck card. We'll just let that sink in. But basically, I go first, and I set double Imperm and Duster. Hindsight's 2020, I should have kept one of the Impermanences in my hand, because if I was going to use both those back row, I still could have at least used the Imperm from my hand at that point. But either way, he starts with Signet Mining, grabs Lady Debug, which kind of threw me off a little bit, but he was really feeling good, I guess, at that point to go for the Debug. We Imperm it, and then he just swings for 17 and passes. I summon Avram, make Link Spider, summon Blue Sky in a column that we would not have had otherwise without the Link Spider play. And then we go into the Morning Star with the Blue Sky and the Link Spider, and we had to summon the Blue Sky for no effect, because again, if I would have kept that Imperm in my hand, I would have been able to set it anywhere else, either in line with his Debug or in line with his set card, which ended up being a Forbidden Droplet. But we could at least try to get one additional search off of it, but it is what it is. We summon the Morningstar, we pitch Indigo, and we get to search. Or we don't get to search because he has Ash. And then I go Battle Phase, and then he droplets me in the damage step. We lose our Morningstar. I'm left top decking. He plays Will on his turn. I duster that. He has another Lady Debug. I imperm that. He swings for 17 and 17. I have like 300 life points left at this point. I had top decked purple that turn prior. Wasn't able to get on the field, and then I draw the cup for a turn on my last turn, and we lose. So couldn't really do anything there. And I also had a memory too that I top decked at one point, but I had to use it to summon yellow, or else I was just gonna die. Otherwise, I would have summoned Avram to have the Avram bounce to my hand in the end phase, to have as a normal summon, but we just couldn't do that. I needed something with really high defense. We lose 2-0 against Salmon Gray, and I'd mainly chalk that up to being like tech play errors all across the board. The access code play, holding that extra impermanence in my hand is something I definitely should have done, because I think that game probably could have gone a bit differently. Yes, he still had the droplet either way, but I think it still would have played out differently, and maybe we could have gone to a game 3. So round 2, we played against everybody's favorite deck, a deck that I am admittedly getting a little sick of at this point. But hey, what are you going to do? We played Invoked Dogmatica, and actually played against one of my friends that I have not played against, I think, ever since locals started. At least I started going to locals again. So, we haven't played against each other in a long time. So that was kind of cool. Basically, I lose die roll again. I get to go second. Either way, it doesn't really make too much difference, like I said. I open Gamma Seal, Ash, Blue Sky, Indigo, Avram, and World Legacy Survivor, that new spell we were trying out. He goes Meltdown for Alistair. I hit him with the Ash. He still ends on Fleur-de-Lis, Schism, Maximus, and Ecclesia. I start with Survivor. And I reveal 5. Nice mills. I grab a World Legacy Secret off of that. Summon Avram, make Link Spider, summon Blue Sky, attempt to search. He has the Fleur-de-Lis for that. I link for Lib, and he goes ahead and uses Schism to summon Construct and not Winda to send off the Lib, since it is a light monster. And then I scoop, because I just can't do anything after that. Then we go to game 2. I go first. I side 3 Ibly, 2 Lancia, 2 different Dimension Ground, and 2 Heavy Storm Duster. All fantastic sides, if you ask me, against Invoke Dogmatica. I don't draw any of them. It is what it is. I start with World Legacy Survivor, and it misses. Not a single card to grab off World Legacy Survivor. Not a Memory, not a Succession, not a Whispers. Nothing. Okay, so whatever. I normal summon Lee, because I drew that card as well. Search the cup, link for Almirage, use Lee engraved to pitch the cup to add back Lee. Revive cup with Succession, make Lib, set a Memory. And I have Ash with the Guard Dragon in my hand, and a Lee. And he just opens the absolute stones. We're talking Meltdown for Alistair, which I do have the Ash, but he's got full Nadir Servant, Maximus, Ecclesia, just the absolute stones, and he drops me very, very low. And I think next turn I top deck a purple that I can't summon. So we lose 2-0. And I put that one up to deck advantage. Deck building is one of the main reasons we lost, as his deck was just far superior than ours. So we're going to move to round 3, and I got to give a shout out to my friend here, because he was leaving shortly after that round, and he did beat me fair and square, but he did give me the win, so I'd have at least a shot at earning some credit, so shout out to him. But then again, I am noting that we did get whooped 2-0 in that matchup, but we're going to head to round 3. Alright, so admittedly, this next round is a little foggy because I didn't take notes for this one, so I apologize, but and if my opponent is in the comments section, he knows who he is. Feel free to leave some notes on our match if you remember anything as well. But we played against Altergeist, which actually the night before I tested against Altergeist, and I was getting bopped by it game after game. And it's funny because I was having an easier time playing against Eldritch Dogmatica than I was playing against Altergeist. Altergeist is a really, really good deck. And it has a very good way of just netting advantage turn after turn. But basically, from what I remember from game 1, we lose die roll again. Yep, he goes first and starts with the Marionetter, sets a few traps, I believe 3 traps or so. And on my turn, I think I start with the Avram play, maybe go for Unexpected Die. I might even have the whole World Legacy Chalice play. But he's able to go Personal Spoofing. I do have the Ash for it after he shuffles back, I believe, like a Maluseek or something. And he does have Call by the Grave for our Ash Blossom. And then he goes ahead and summons Faker, gets Silcoitus from the deck. And then I think we sort of like play around it a little bit by like going into the battle phase and things like that. It's just, the game grinds on a little bit, and we do secure the win, I believe. So we go to game 2, and I think we get to go first. We pull off the full combo uninterrupted. We end on like Avermax with 3 set back row. I set like a key, a memory, and a secret. I never flipped the key face up because I just forgot, I guess. So on his turn, he starts with Harpy's Feather Duster. Wow, I know, right? And we go ahead and chain, I think, like a purple, or chain the memory to get purple, and then he goes for like the Maluseek, and he, attacks directly, and or I think on attack declaration we just chain purple just so you can't send it, and we go ahead and search like an Avram, I think, or like a Blue Sky. That game also grinds on a little bit. But we are able to come back and secure a game with just like we're both kind of like top decking, I guess, at some point. Again, I apologize if my memory's foggy for this one. I remember at one point he had like an extravagance that didn't draw him into exactly what he needed. And yeah, I don't know. Our Avermax is pretty much able to stay on the field, I think, the entire time. I could be wrong. I think the game that we did lose, he just had like a really solid setup with like Hextia and a Marionetter pointing to it. We couldn't put up really anything to stop it, and the next turn he just had game just by attacking with Hextia and the Marionetter, and he had already some set back row. It was like a protocol and a manifestation, so we weren't winning that game. But then game 3, like I said, we started with that full combo. He had the Duster, but he didn't have everything else that he needed to completely take the game. So we did win in sort of that grind game situation after I've already pulling off that combo that gets us double World Chalice and Grave. That's a couple reoccurring searches the following turn. Actually, I think he did have a call by for those World Chalices. But yeah, we take the match 2-1 against Altergeist. Surprising win there. I think that would be more of like a technical play win on our behalf. Maybe a deck advantage win. I'm not entirely sure. Now we'll go to the last round. We're technically 1-2 right now. Let's see if we can finish with an even record. Let's go to the round 4 feature match. All right, so I'm going to keep this one plain and simple for you guys. So basically in game 1, he went first, started with that Buster Destruction Sword Whelp that searches the trap. I do have the Ash for it, so he does go into Linkuriboh. Sets another copy of the card he was actually going to search. On my turn, I top deck another Ash. I know, right? Just my luck. I end up going into Lee the World Chalice Fairy because I drew that card as well to search the World Legacy World Chalice. Go into Almirage, and then I attempt to play that World Legacy's memory. That goes through. The purple hits the field, and I attempt to activate the effect. That goes through. Go ahead and search Blue Sky, but eventually at a point during my combo, he uses the prologue, basically. It just completely shuts me down. And next turn, he has Red Eyes Fusion on top of an already stunted field. Yes, I did have Ash technically, but then he immediately followed that up with a copy of Nadir's Servant. So we just went to game 2 right then and there. So as we head into game 2, I start with the unexpected die, go into Link Spider, go into Morning Star. He does have the Ash, unfortunately, and there I am forced to burn a World Legacy Succession to get into Lib. Lib is going to go ahead and actually set a copy of Secrets, just so I have it, at least bare minimum, the Indigo setup during my opponent's turn. I do make a misplay with this World Legacy Guard Dragon that I had in my hand. I thought I could link it off and, potentially make a Morning Star by reviving that Avram in my graveyard, but I miscalculated where all the link arrows pointed to, and I just kind of randomly committed the normal summon to a World Legacy Guard Dragon when I didn't really need to. So that was a misplay. On his turn, he does have a very, very strong turn, going into like his Dogmatica plays. I am luckily able to negate his Buster Whelp on summon with my Secrets play with Indigo, but then Obviously, the Entis removes that of Secret. And then he sets up a board. Next turn, I'm able to, like, just make another Almirage. But then, you know, during his next turn, he, you know, fusions again for the Buster Fusion. And then on top of that, to make matters worse, makes Verte Anaconda. And obviously, that's going to bring out Dragoon of Red Eyes. And I literally just have the scoop since I did not see any other Mekk Knight engine cards on my following turn. And we lose pretty quickly 2-0 to this absurd deck. So as you can see, it was a pretty rough finish. That Buster Blader deck, man, it's something else. It's a tough deck, and there's a lot of people at our locals playing it. And by a lot, I mean maybe like 2 or 3. And hopefully that number doesn't grow over the weeks, because it is a tough matchup, especially when you don't draw any side deck cards to go against it. So we unfortunately finish 1 and 3, the worst record I think we've had this entire series so far, even outside of Mekk Knights. So we're definitely going back to the drawing board. I'll put up on the screen here in a few minutes of the current list that I'm working on. It looks so good. And then I look at it and I'm like, there's no hand traps. I mean, maybe we don't even play hand traps. Maybe we would just focus on strictly playing board-breaking cards. Maybe like Triple Tactics Talent or Dark Ruler No More. I don't know. Ended on kind of a rough note, but can't win them all. Next week, we're coming back stronger than ever. Hopefully we can secure that 4-0. I'd like to go to both locals next week to try to get in as much practice as we can. And I might also be doing some testing over the week right here in the studio. So hopefully that happens, and hopefully it's valuable, and hopefully we learn something about the deck to make it even better, because I definitely think there's definitely room for improvement. So thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed. Share this video with a friend. These videos do take quite a long time to make, and it'd be really nice to see more people being able to enjoy this series, because I know you guys have liked it a lot, and I appreciate all the feedback and all the positive support that you guys have shown this series. It really does mean a lot, especially how rough of a year it's been for the channel in terms of the whole pandemic and everything. It really means a lot to see a lot of support on this channel, on this specific series. So again, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and as always, Winterkill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And last but not least, a special shout out goes to our Divine level channel members, Academic Thick, Zors, and Cadillacs84. Thank you guys, as always, so much for your generous support.